Call to order the Gladstone City Commission. First order of business, meeting of the Gladstone City Commission. First order of business with the invocation said by Commissioner Mattinen, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise, please.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to meet tonight. We're thankful for each one that's made the effort to come out. And Father, as we look at the opportunities and obstacles in front of us tonight, we pray that you'll give us that divine wisdom and guidance that only you can give. We pray and ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next order will be the roll call, please.
Mayor Hunter,
Here.
Commissioner Gay,
Here.
Commissioner Mackey,
Here.
Commissioner Mattinen,
Here.
and Commissioner Olson.
Here. Everybody's here. All right, next item before we go into public comment, there's been looks like a change to our agenda. What I'm looking to see if somebody can entertain a motion for amending the new business, and under new business A, to amend the agenda for the JC's duck races.
So moved.
Support. Okay, motion supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. We'll make the new business A for for the JC duck races. All right, next item will be public comment. It's a far cry from last meeting. Yeah, no, I'm not. We have the Head Start proclamation.
Leftover anger, whatever.
I know it says Ms. Falcon, but I believe this was something, I think it was a letter that I received on this. So what we have here, it's the Head Start month, May 2013. Unfortunately, obviously, our first meeting didn't take effect until almost 2 weeks into the month of May. But this is a proclamation for the Head Start month of 20.
Right there.
Yeah,
It's on the back here.
yeah. Confusing me. I was about ready to read the proclamation here. All right, so I am going to read this. I think I've done this last year as well. But it states, whereas Head Start has been a high-quality, comprehensive early childhood education, health, and social services program operating locally since the mid-1960s. And whereas Head Start emphasizes individualized services and the involvement and leadership of parents in setting goals designed to maximize the successful development of school readiness attributes in each child. Whereas Head Start has earned an outstanding reputation as a most successful program that responds to educational and social challenges and has proven effective in reducing future grade retention, delinquency, school dropout, unemployment, and criminal activity. And whereas Head Start provides GED and literacy tutoring and other services to support the self-sufficiency efforts of low-income families. And whereas Head Start provides parents with a wealth of information on child development, child guidance strategies, and the importance of establishing and maintaining positive parent-child relationships. And whereas Head Start is comprised of hundreds of young children and loving families, dedicated staff, outstanding community partners, and volunteers. And whereas the Head Start program, a positive environment where goals are identified and progress is recognized, has had a positive effect on the community through the positive impact on young children and their families. Now therefore we, the Gladstone City Commission, do hereby proclaim May 2013 as Head Start Month and urge all the citizens of the City of Gladstone to support and reflect on the outstanding results of Head Start. It's a worthwhile program. All right. Next item. Move on to the consent agenda. We have the City Commission regular meeting minutes of April 22nd, 2013. The City Commission special meeting minutes of April 28, 2013. And the DDA regular meeting minutes of April 9, 2013.
I move that we approve as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have motion support. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, we're going to bypass the public hearings and also unfinished business. And now we're going to move to new business. And under A will be the J.C. Duck races. Mr. Bergman?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to thank first the board for hearing me on such short notice. Apparently there was a miscommunication between Parks and our organization as to what this is going to be. So I'll make this brief. As you all know, the duck races have been held here in the city of Gladstone for a number of years down in Van Cleef Park. It's our annual fundraiser where we make money to do our annual Thanksgiving baskets to give out to the community. And this year we're anticipating that we're going to be doing, again, raising funds via that. We'll be having, again, a picnic, a kickball tournament there, a 5K run, and also in the evening hours we'll be having a band for entertainment for folks on that too. And what we're asking is the city's permission to be able to use your parks. Again, we've been talking with, I believe it's Nicole through the parks, and we're asking that we be able to schedule for August 24th is our date, and we'll be setting up again August 25th, or excuse me, 23rd, in the evening hours to get all that taken, and then anticipate taking it down on August 25th. It's been a very big fundraiser for us, and also we've been part of the city of Gladstone for some time on this, and would like to continue to hold it here in Gladstone. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the commission?
As far as I know, there's never been any incidents at this event, and I believe you have private security, right? In addition to our law enforcement?
What it is the security company that we had contracted is now folded. However, we have been contacting some other security issues through security. One of our members works with volunteers at the Ford River Fire Department, and apparently some of their individuals out there have done security in the past, so there will be security that we will have there, obviously, to make sure that everything is...
It's been well run. There's never been any incidents that I've ever heard of. So.
And of course, we work with the city, obviously, with the band to make sure that noise ordinance, there's no problem with noise or anything like that. So.
Thank you. Anything else? Did you say kickball tournament?
There's or not kickball tournament, excuse me, beanbag, I misspoke.
Oh.
Looks like in the past there has been a kickball tournament.
Okay.
It looks like we're going to be doing a beanbag tournament. We're still looking for someone to run it, but anticipate we will be doing it.
Okay.
And we also we use the softball field also, just to let everyone know.
Thank you.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, a motion. I have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you very much for hearing us on such short notice. And we
No
will
problem.
your parks committee
Care.
on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item of new business will be the electric department pickup truck bid. Mr. White? Boy, what are you talking about?
Just because you're next to me,
I
or?
have no idea.
No, that's not it. Hi, Tom.
We're replacing a truck, 12-year-old four-wheel drive pickup truck. And I'm proposing to buy one through Gorno Ford. That's in downstate Michigan. It's through the My Deal system. It's $25,766. Sure if you have any questions on that.
Did you say you're replacing a 12-year-old truck?
It's 2001, so I guess it's it'd be 12 years old.
Boy, it goes by quick.
I was still working here when you got that. I didn't think your trucks were that old.
I tried to keep them for at least 10 years. I push them usually 10 to 12 years. And then
How many miles is that truck having? Do you have any idea?
ballpark about 90,000.
90?
Usually Parks and Rec tends to pick up our trucks. And they're,
Well, I remember the
Running
first
low.
truck you got that was a four-wheel drive because there was so much development on the bluff and you were getting stuck all the time, and they're still using that truck.
yep.
Usually it's one person's junk is another man's treasure.
Or what you can afford. There's some pretty old stuff in our fleet, right, Barry?
I take it the truck is going to be okay for Parks and Rec. I mean, there's no mechanical issues.
Yeah, it's
nothing
starting
like
to
that.
rust on the rocker panels, that type of thing.
That
But,
fits in.
Mechanically, it's been taken care of pretty well.
Okay.
Well, that truck that I was just mentioning must be at least 18 years old. Maybe 19 or 20 years old?
1995, I think.
95? Okay, it's like an 18-year-old truck, and they're still using it in Parks and Recreation, so. Went by me today.
Are we looking at, would we be looking at getting rid of that one from Parks? Or is it, if we're using?
I think that one's about ready to fall apart.
Is that one
So
about ready to
they're
fall
pretty
apart?
anxious for this one.
I mean, I want to try and use as much as we can, as long as we can, but we also don't want it to have it look like a safety issue too, so.
Well-
I know Barry's good about making sure that stuff doesn't get on the road, but.
Along those lines, the city manager and I went up to Marquette, we had quite a bit of time to talk, and one of the things I mentioned to you was it seems there's an awful lot of things sitting in various places in the city that doesn't get used anymore, and you probably are gonna bring that up a bit in your report, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm sure.
So,
I'd move that we accept the quote from Gorno Ford.
support.
I have a motion and support for the acceptance of the bid. Is there any further discussion?
Why is yours so much more expensive than the Department of Public Works?
Well, we use an extended cab for one,
Oh,
so we have a lot of equipment and stuff and safety gloves and other clothing and stuff that we keep in the back. I also have a plow package on it, because it will be used for plowing. It's a 3/4 ton.
okay.
Good question. Any further discussion?
No,
No?
gotta give Tom a little problem, I mean,
Oh, actually,
getting a
that was
new
good
truck
question. I
regularly,
didn't even think about that.
at least once a year.
Yeah, it wouldn't seem right if you didn't, so.
Yeah.
All right, is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next item will be the DPW pickup truck bid. Mr. Lund.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to talk about getting a pickup for ourselves. I had hand delivered 4 bid packages to each of the local dealers. As you can see, we got 2 back. One was at $24,496 from Riverside Auto. Riverside Chevy gave us a bid of $23,301. And our My Deal from Redholm and Buick GMC was $20,484. I'm requesting that we accept a little bit of $20,484 from Redholm.
Mr. Lund, if you don't mind me asking, where is Red Holman at?
Westland, Michigan.
Oh, okay, yep. Yep. Is there any questions for Mr. Lund?
You talk about delivery charges and you didn't, what, do they deliver yours or?
We're gonna pick ours up, we save $400 by going to the south side of the bridge.
That's more than
Which is
likely
what you're
we'll do,
talking about, same
too.
thing.
When I talked to the dealer tonight there, they got a couple going up to Cadillac and Traverse City. So if we get on with those,
Did somebody say
we can
something?
save some more, yeah.
Well, in the past, when the public safety department got that new patrol car, you know, that's got lots of under the hood and all that, Commissioner Olson and I talked about maybe going and getting and see what it could do. Maybe we could go get pick up now.
So you can go get this pickup.
How much does it cost you to go get the pickup?
Just gas money, basically.
No, it isn't just gas.
Well, you got some labor involved. I mean, I'll take a part-timer with me or whoever, so. About 4 hours, 5 hours.
Times 2, 10 hours, times how much an hour?
50 bucks. No,
That's
well,
fi-
it would be 5 hours. 5 hours, about $50 part-timers between 2 of us. $250 in labor.
Yeah, but there's 2 of you, at
Yeah.
$50 apiece.
No, the part-timers are make $850.
Okay. Yeah, and that's all you have to pay them?
Yeah,
Okay,
about $250 in labor.
okay.
Just a comment, I guess. I wish our local dealerships could get a little closer here. I'd like to keep the money locally, but
Yeah, it's borderline.
When I
you
first started
familiar
working
with-
here, everything we bought was bought locally. But then they came up with the state purchasing program as a means to try and save money, and all municipalities and other units that are allowed to purchase through it, you save considerable money, right?
well, because I see we're sending $50,000 400 miles south.
Yep.
But the local dealerships have the option to bid in on this My Deal. So,
And, you know, we talked about this before in the past because I thought the same thing, and I had a hard time if we had the state bid come in and, you know, if this $20,044, just for example on this, and then go into our local dealership and say, well, can you can you meet that? Because if you can't, then we're gonna have to go with that. It's almost like extortion. That's the way I looked at it. Kind of hard. Even if they wanted to say they could split halfway, then maybe that's something else we could look at. Because I'd agree. I like to try to keep it local.
Yeah,
I mean, we're pushing for it, and trying to promote it. But
yep.
They would be the ones doing warranty work on the truck, right?
Yes.
is there any other questions for Mr. Lund?
I move that we approve the low bid to Red Holman Buick GMC.
Second.
We have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you, Mr. Lund. Okay, next item on the agenda will be the DDA reappointments. Mr. Mark Roxbury and Ms. Linda Hollett. Says Mayor Hunter. It is. These are the reappointments for the DDA board with the term expiring of May 1st, 2018. I won't be here to that duration, but I'm still currently here, obviously. So I sit on the board. Both of them have done good work. It's always nice hearing some different ideas and, you know, maybe even some different comments here and there. And you can look at it and analyze exactly what's going on and making sure that we're doing what we need to do to make our downtown prosper. They do have some good ideas, and with Ms. Hollett being on the school board, it's a nice way to connect with the schools as well. So if there isn't any objections or if there's not any concerns, the consent of the board, or the commission, I'm sorry, I'd reappoint the both of them. Okay, all right. So been reappointed. That leads into the EDC reappointments of John Thomas, Randall Peterson, and Steve O'Driscoll. I know this says myself, but I'll be quite honest with you, I don't think I've gone to maybe one or two EDC boards. Any questions, I actually am going to direct to Ms. Falcon because I know she attends these quite regularly, so.
I run them, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry. The
So-
chair runs them.
So if you have any questions at all, I mean, from my understanding, I know Mr. Thomas a little bit, and that's actually through Craig Lauerman. So that's how I know Mr. Thomas. I know Mr. O'Driscoll as well. Is Steve still part of the school board? I guess he's on the school board, correct? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Mr. Randall Peterson, I probably do. I know
President
him.
First Bank?
Yes, thank you. I knew that. I'm just thinking, which one is it? I want to make sure I got it right. So,
Yeah.
is there any questions for Ms. Falcon on this regard? No? All right. Any objections to reappointing the three to the board with the term expiring on May 1st, 2019? None? All right. They've also been reappointed. Next item will be the rescheduling of the May 27, 2013 regular commission meeting. Sounds like that we are going to, obviously it's Memorial Day, and Ms. Falcon did indicate that there's going to be some business that needs to take care of, that we need to take care of before June 1st. I was hoping that we'd had a holiday from here on out after this meeting, but
I
little
wish we
vacation,
could,
but-
saying we can cancel it altogether and just meet in June, but EVIP 3 is due to the state of Michigan by June 1st.
oh,
so-
sure.
And then we already have 3 or 4 other agenda items, so
Well, let's see here. Commissioner Mackey, you were saying something about leaving
May
town?
27th, I leave for Alaska, so
Okay,
have to be before then, or else I will not be present.
Okay.
Sure you can carry on without me, but
I prefer not to, though.
then you better do it before May 27th. Want to have another Sunday meeting?
No.
Not.
No, I'm here to tell you it's a good thing that wasn't fall, because that had been right in the heart of football season.
Yep.
22nd, 23rd? Is that
23rd I could do, 22nd I can't.
20th?
Be another Monday. Just
Next
kinda
Monday.
Next Monday.
keep it in line.
You ready to go by next Monday?
Yeah, let's look at for the staff, I guess, would be the biggest thing.
This eve at 3, the millage rate, the.
What do you think you'd be able to do it by then? I mean, so you're not being pressed. I
Yeah,
mean,
we're
we
just
have some
seeing
other-
what agenda items
Yeah.
we already had submitted and if they're, almost ready to go,
Okay.
or how much work is involved in getting them ready to go.
Say if you think the 20th will work, if there's nothing real crucial, I'm sure we could do without Joe if we wanted to go on the 28th. That's up to you guys. I'm open on either one of those days.
I've got another commitment on the 28th.
Okay.
As do I.
Okay.
20th or 24th. 20th, 23rd, 24th is looking
The
possible for me.
24th won't work. It's my softball tournament with the girls that weekend. My daughters, that's
Okay.
when we start off our softball tournament.
Date night too,
It's Friday night, that's right.
Yeah,
You know those retired guys now.
I know. It's very important.
Well, then, the 20th, I guess, if the staff's okay with that and they can get, okay, let's go with the
Time?
20th.
7 PM, 6 PM, what?
Keep it the same? Just keep it the same,
Sure.
okay? We keep it the same at 7 PM. You will need a motion on that, though.
So moved.
Second.
All right, the motion supported for the rescheduling of the May 27th meeting to May 20th at 7 PM. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. The white shirts that night. All right. Next item on the agenda will be the list of city property for sale.
The staff brought before the commission almost 2 years ago now, a policy on sale of city property. And in creating that policy, we referred to a map that was created, I'm thinking about 8 years ago, because it was during one of the terms when Howard Keaton was called back as interim city manager. This is the map that he had QPAD print for us. All city property is identified on here. Whether green is city property, but we use it. Blue was identified as city-owned, but not recommended for sale. And then the red was city-owned and recommended for sale. So we brought this out recently and have added 2 parcels to the list. So on page 2 there, lot 43, Bear Park Edition, that's always been on our list. And actually I have somebody interested in that, but we'll pursue that when they submit something in writing. The 6.19 acres, that's the larger parcel right here between Hoig Pet Casket, or Hoig owns a parcel here, and Medallion Management Apartments. That's been on there too. Newly added though were 3.04 acres and roughly 1.96 acres. These are rough. All city property, we do have surveyed, to determine the exact amount of acreage when we sell them. That's the 2 parcels south of public safety, which we're hoping will eventually be part of the bigger development along the lake shore down here. But it is city property and it is for sale, so it's on our list. Part of Block 2, Goodman Edition, that's half of a block there next to Family Dollar. That's been on our list.
That's
And
all commercial, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, we've actually had, I've had 3 or 4 different parties interested in that over the last year. So hopefully one of them will come to light here soon. South Hill Road, that's down here. And I'm not proposing to put all of this on the list, but just this parcel down here. We've had some interest in that, and it wasn't on our list before, so that's now added to our list. The city wouldn't use that for anything. It's right on the corner, Blackwell Avenue there.
It was acquired when the road was relocated and they had to buy it in a chunk, but it was excess property.
Yeah. So we're adding that one to our list. Of course, all of our property in the North Bluff Industrial Park, city-owned, that's always been on the list for sale. And then we are adding 503 South 9th Street, which is the former Stoppage gas station. Again, it wasn't on our list before, but we are getting some interest in that, so we thought we should get that on the list of property for sale. Any sale there would be contingent upon, we currently use that building for Parks and Recreation, stores their tractor and lawnmowers and tools and stuff in there, finding another location for that to go. So that would be contingent upon.
What about brownfield?
We have the BEA for that and the due care plan. Depends on what the developer would want to do with it. Sometimes when you have a developer lined up, that's when the brownfield money comes into play. When the city owns things, there's no money for cities to clean up through brownfield money through the state of Michigan, but when you have a developer ready to take over, it's kind of, we all work together in getting it cleaned up if need be, or.
I think we had a presentation since I've been on the commission that basically said, don't dig it up and leave it where it is. The riverfront in Detroit is a classic example of a brownfield they capped. They've got parking lots on top of it, and as long as you don't disturb it, it doesn't bother nobody, so you don't go through the expense of cleaning it up.
Right. It depends on what the developer would want to do there.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there some discussion on that piece of property, Darla, at one time for like a farmer's market or something?
Yeah, when Manager Casera was here, farmers market / welcome center.
Interestingly enough, I was reading in the Daily Press tonight where the city of Detroit is looking at getting rid of like 3 or 4 fire stations and 1 police station because, as we all know, they right now have an emergency manager and they're trying to scrape up every dollar they can. So, same scenario here.
Scraping up the dollars, not necessarily getting rid of the police station and fire station.
No, they weren't used anymore. Scraping up dollars. Yeah.
So what I've put in your packet is kind of like a sheet per parcel. Kind of has the zoning on it, true cash value, the legal description, and then a map showing where the property is, parcel number. So we will scan these in and put them on our website. That way, anybody interested in a parcel, they can pull this sheet, and then we can make sure we're talking about the right parcel, or when they put in a bid or whatever, an offer to buy it.
I was asked a question by our zoning administrator tonight about another residential matter, and I see you've got several things that are listed as multifamily. That means single family can go in there as well, but it could be as high as multiple family in our zoning code. So you are.
I'm just looking at this sheet right here, where on South 9th Street. Have we heard if anything is going on with the school and their bus garage here?
Yeah.
I have contacted Mike McFarland and Jay Culbertus, and do you have something?
I worked with the Knights of Columbus with your husband this weekend, and Mike McFarland, who's the business manager at the schools, asked me a point-blank question. He says, "Are you guys interested in that property?" I said, "Well, the city manager has told me that there's interest in that, and we'd like to sit down if need be to have a meeting and explore our mutual interests." So I said, "If you can do something," so I'm sure that
So
was.
did their Dell Fab
Sale.
portion sale go
Yeah,
through?
they now own this location
I
over
saw
here.
the sign, so that's what I was wondering, so I didn't know
And
if this was
the-
going to be moved.
The head of the bus department told me as soon as school is up, they've moved a lot of equipment and stuff to their new location. The buses will be stored inside for the summer
Oh, good.
at their new location.
They had something dug up the other day there. It looked like either a roof drain or. Sewer. That was a sewer. They had the sanitary? Yeah. Or were they insulating it, or?
Yeah,
Oh,
we've had
okay.
problems with that freezing in the
Okay.
past, so.
So I said, yes, the city manager would love to sit down with maybe a commissioner or two and the school superintendent and a school board member or two and see if we could acquire that, so. Or you, I think you'd probably be getting a contact.
All right, is there any questions for Ms. Falcon?
I'd move that we approve the updated list of city property for sale.
Second.
Okay, a motion is supported by Commissioner Olson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. The next item on the agenda will be the payment of the bills.
At your placemats tonight, you should have seen an updated copy of this. There was one bill added. So our new total for bills before you tonight, $73,398.72. Quite a long list here this time. So just to go through a few of them, Lambert Brothers repairs on our fire truck, definitely needed. We need to keep those, up and running. Ameriscan, when we decided to update our code and stuff, this is kind of like the next step where our minutes will be available. You can search by a code word online, so
Okay.
definitely helpful to our clerk and staff
Good.
in researching things.
I think that's probably something that we've, in the past, have asked through evaluation process for goals for you. So good, good, very good.
There's going to be a yearly fee to that, but there's, in the $9.95, there's a setup plus the yearly fee, so it won't be $1,000 every year, probably half that.
So then after you get that installed, I can call up with a trick question and see if we can find it.
Different scenarios that we have, to see what it'll pull up. If
Yep.
I know what it's supposed to, but yeah, in essence, it's bringing us to the next step of, type in Bessie or whatever, and you'll bring up every single thing that happened, related to that, versus me sitting there manually looking at the index through every single book of every single year of every
The
single.
zoning administrator asked me tonight, she says, what is your interpretation of where a mobile home can go in Gladstone? I said, well, here's where you find it in the code. And she hadn't found it in the code. And she said she had talked with you about it too.
Yeah, when she was
So I'm
explaining
assuming
and
if you'd have
talking,
typed in keyword mobile home, it probably would have keyed you into there.
Yeah, and she was busy today. That's why I told her, I said, have you checked Municode yet? And she's like, not yet. So, yeah,
Good.
good things that we're moving towards, so.
2 invoices on here from UPEA, that's the professional services developing the sports park master plan. We had a contract with them, total was $24,766. After these 2 invoices, they have about $2,000 left as far as their contract goes. Milan Supply Company, it says Parks and Recreation, actually that should be wastewater, it's parts for a lift station. D&L Janitorial, they cleaning supplies, and they stripped and waxed the floor at the sports park. They do that for us every year when we come out of the winter season and take that carpet out. They prepare the floor for us up there for the summer. Of course, Charter Communication for our televised meetings. Coleman Engineering Professional Services, they are the engineers for the harbor project. Lake Superior Press Campground brochures, that's the new brochures that we just had made up. Very nice, they did a really nice job. And we sold ads in here from the different businesses, and they're, by purchasing the ads helped defray the cost of making up the flyer, so,
Excellent work.
yeah. Those were they needed to be updated. The old ones were quite a few years old. BSNA tax and assessing support, that's modules we use every day for tax and assessing, annual support fee on that. Door Industries, we purchased some picnic tables recently. If you want to go down to the big pavilion and see them, they're really nice. The one invoice went to Parks, and then the other invoice was new picnic tables at the campground. So then
Harbor. It says here harbor.
it's supposed to be campground though.
Okay.
So we're kind of going through the old ones, the ones that are unsafe, we're cutting up for scrap wood, whatever. And then other locations that needed more were able to, funnel them out to the different areas where picnic tables are needed. Billy Electric, that's for variable frequency drives down at the water plant. Hydro Designs, cross-connection control program through the water plant. Hawkins, that was for treatment chemicals. Vacuum pump and compressor, a repair. Jack Dehoney Companies, that was parts for a motor and thruster. Flynn's Flowers, that they do the pots on 10th Street. So those are flower plots for the 10th Street. Itron is software maintenance for the handhelds that reads all the meters in town for electric and water. Got some cold patch from Payne and Dolan for the potholes. The ones are pretty standard there.
Nortrax.
Nortrax, we rented a John Deere, what was that?
That's that excavator that they're using, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So total accounts payable for April, 187,508.19. Total payroll for the month of April, 192,411.76.
I move that we pay the bills as presented.
Support. Okay, motion support. Is there,
I have one question. Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna, I just didn't know who, Commissioner Olson, you're one that made the motion to pay the bills. Do we want to just couple, little, I mean, it's nothing, it's a little trivial, but just to put it on there as far as the Mylan Supply Company is for the waste water.
Oh,
And then it's no big deal, but I just want to make sure we just have it on the record so that way it's.
sure, no, that's fine.
Okay.
I
Excellent.
forgot to mention the one that was added.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, sorry. K&M Industrial, 10,835.26. That is to fix the pump at the ski hill. We got it pulled, he went through it. These are the parts and labor it's gonna cost to repair that pump. Budgeted was 14,000, so we're below budget.
Good.
So the invoice he gave us, he would like 50% down to order some of the parts to repair it, and then 50% when it's done. But we put the whole amount on here. We will only cut, a check for half now, and then pay him in full when it's done. But so that's the one that was added in for K&M Industrial.
It's gonna be a heck of a pump.
It's
Pushing water a long way, it's better be.
it's like a $50,000 pump though. It's a pretty big pump.
And high pressure.
Okay, we have a motion with some of the changes and supported by Commissioner Mackey. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. All right, let's go to, not that we have a big crowd here tonight, but why don't we go to the city manager's reports. If anybody has any objections, let me know. We can bypass the executive session at this point. Hit the city manager reports, the rest of them, and then go to the potential executive session. That's all right? Okay. We'll go to the city manager's report, please.
This is the new summer brochure. Nicole wanted me to pass that out for you. Has a lot of our activities listed in here. A lot of good information. This goes home with all the school kids too, in their Friday folders or whatever. So we try to get the information out to as many people as we can. Yeah, you mentioned earlier the old fleet that we had, that vehicles we're not using, whatever. We did bring some of them to Reliable Recycling. We're going through the rest and creating a list. We'll probably create one small ad, maybe put it in the action shopper with everything listed on there, but then we want to put it on, what is it, Government Deals or something?
Governmentdeals.com.
Governmentdeals.com. That's where we have government,
Yeah.
old police cars or whatever. Municipalities know to look at that site for this kind of stuff, so whoever comes and gives us an offer, if we're not using it anymore, we might as well get rid of it. So Barry and other department heads too are, we'll create one list and get that out there. If you've noticed the art display tonight, I contacted Joanne Chenard. She's the art teacher for Cameron Elementary and Jones. So some art displayed from different kids, anywhere from kindergarten through 5th grade. So if you have a minute, stop down and see the artwork that we have displayed by the kids. It'll be up through the end of the month. It will be taken down in time for them to bring it home for the summer, the kids, so brightens up the room in here.
I kind of miss that artwork at home because
Yeah.
it means my kids are getting that much older.
What does that make you?
That makes me getting younger.
Closer to having them off his payroll.
There you go. Thank you. Good answer.
What that means.
Okay. Off his payroll.
That's correct.
Okay.
I like that.
A couple months ago, well, in March, we had Michigan Rural Council came up. Julie and Brad were the moderators for, we had different groups of people get together, commission and staff, and then we had boards and commissions, and concluded the night with the general public in the evening up at the sports park. We just got the report back. We will be forwarding it to all of you guys and all of the Parks Board, EDC, DDA, all of those boards, and get some feedback. Good information, you know, it kind of tells us if we're on the same page as our boards and the general public, you know, as far as what we would like to see happen and what they would like to see happen. And then what I really liked is apparently the last meeting in the evening, I was not able to attend that, but they actually had people sign up for, so the East End Fishing Pier Improvement, Larry Johnson volunteered to be, whenever we meet and talk about that, he would like to be on that board for that discussion. Or Howard Hullett and Jeff Wagey signed up when we talk about the dog park. So when we get the new sports park master plan completed, we can call them, give them a copy of the map, and see, you know, kind of let some of the community members spearhead maybe some of the smaller projects, or, you know, how they fit into the larger city projects, you know. So they actually signed up for different areas of their interest. So at least we have some people to contact when we need to reach out to the public, you know, for their input on things.
That was an inclusion or attachment in one of the committee reports.
DDA is tomorrow morning.
So we all have received.
Okay, good. So read that over, and we will see what we can bring forward, you know, from that.
Good.
Joe and I last Thursday went to Marquette and attended this, what elected appointed officials need to know about traffic safety. Really, really good class. A lot of things this is not my field. Good information. Director Geyer stopped by and he took a copy of it. Just, you know, more informational for him. I'm sure he knows about all of these things. Like, do you know where the dilemma zone is?
Isn't that the area where you, between the intersection and the crosswalk portion?
It's as you're approaching like a stoplight.
Traffic signal.
Or is it green? Do you have time to get through? Is it going to turn yellow? Do you need to stop?
I'm glad you brought that up. There's something else I gotta talk about. That's perfect.
So I gave you guys all copies. I'm not trying to turn you into traffic experts, but I thought there was some good, it's, you know, they know commissioners and staff are not traffic safety experts.
It was given by a guy who was an MDOT engineer, so he
Yep.
could have been very technical about it, but he brought it down to a level of the things that an engineer looks at when they're designing public thoroughfares and what their goals are compared to what we just heard on Delta Avenue. I thought it was an excellent workshop. In fact, he said if we wanted to, he would bring that workshop here if we could guarantee him enough people. So if you guys thought I think, I went to it, I think it would be really a wonderful thing to have here and invite citizens to sit down and learn what we learned about the things they look at when they design a street.
How long was it?
3 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe something to bring up at the joint governmental meeting, or
Oh.
send it off to Mr. O'Toole, spearhead, because I would imagine some county, township, county officials, township, city of Escanaba. Might be an idea.
Yeah.
Good.
for the Delta Avenue folks too.
Speaking of joint governmental, that was another meeting I attended last week. And real good presentation by Vicki Schwab, Delta County EDA Director, Dave Anthony, and Matt Wastel from Pisces. They are working on a central UP aquaculture, and real good information just for public's information there. And I know the radio stations were at the meeting and they did a clip on it, but other people since this meeting have called either Mr. Anthony or Mrs. Schwab at the EDA and said, well, I have a trout pond, whatever, how do I bring it to the next level, you know, kind of in relation to this. So it's kind of spearheading other interests in the private community. And then Brett French was there. He gave us an update on the ATC transmission project. They have quite a few things, you know, happening from Wisconsin up to the UP, and he gave us an update on that. Not too much to report on the Central UP Micropolitan Economic Development Project. That's where Delta County and Marquette County are combining together on this next Michigan, so we can get grant dollars and resources in the UP for projects. And then Mr. Dave Nyberg was there, the governor's UP representative. Just gave us a quick update on that. So you never know these joint governmental meetings when there's going to be, you know, good information for the county or anything that's going on. One thing they did talk about was the bridge that's going to be fixed on US 2, which is going to route traffic across the West Gladstone Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
By
the-
Mead Paper.
by New- yeah.
That bridge is now been closed down to maximum weight limit is 60 ton, which when that happens, any semi or large truck would have to go like 4 hours out of their way just to get through
Until that
the
bridge is
UP.
repaired?
Yeah.
Or actually,
And the estimated cost to repair the West Gladstone Bridge is $2.3 million. So they're trying to, you know, make the legislature aware, and the more people that are made aware of this, something's got to be done.
I think, isn't the bridge by New Page scheduled for 20?
17?
I
17,
thought it was
think.
2016, or is it
2017.
2017? But right now, so up until that point, anything 60 tons or more has to be rerouted.
Well, no, 60 ton is the maximum limit on the West Gladstone Bridge.
Well, I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah, that's just been changed here recently.
Yeah.
Because of the structure is somewhat weakened.
That's probably one of the things that's being pushed as far as the changes in fees and all the various proposals on how dollars are going to be put into repairing roads and infrastructure and that type of thing. It's also being discussed on the federal level, but as with a lot of things being discussed on the federal level, discussions don't get checks cut. So I don't know exactly how that's going to turn out, but on the state level, it appears as though something's going to be done to address the underfunding, I should say, of roads and infrastructure.
From my own little mind, Mr. Lund, can you give me an idea what 60 tons would be as far as a semi? Would it be a,
Fully loaded semi can go 80,000 pounds.
okay. And that's just with one trailer, not a pup, like a gravel? Okay. Thank you.
You mentioned ATC. I was at a meeting on Friday where Senator Casperson was there, and he was talking about, and this is politics, in his opinion, the UP needs more power if we're going to develop. If you're of the mind that says, well, I like things the way they are, you wouldn't want development. And ATC is, the whole idea behind ATC is to bring more power to the UP, which I'm sure you could chime in on. We need more power up here, right?
There are some limitations up here. Especially there's a loop that goes around Michigan and
Casperson mentioned a couple of projects up in your hometown, up in the Houghton area, that needed power.
it's true.
So if ATC doesn't get that transmission line, the power that's available down there can't get up here.
DDA board meeting tomorrow morning, 7:30, and then I have EDC/IDC joint meeting at 11:30. And then Wednesday morning, I'm gonna head to Marquette. There's a new CEO of MERS, the retirement system, Chris DeRose. And I was invited by Tara Langham, she's our local representative, to go up to Marquette and meet him with some other municipal employees.
Are you gonna
it's
ask
just
him
in the
about
morning.
funding levels?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Is there any possibility that we could get their spreadsheet or their model, which we could plug into and play what-if games and things like that?
They have a whole actuarial team that does that for cities. If we could do it ourselves, then they would be eliminating a whole department. It's not a simple calculation, unfortunately.
There are signs that the economy in Michigan is finally on the rebound, which I think you could interpolate that and say that that means that the pension funds are going to be healthier as a result of that.
Yeah, but I
Leading
get,
economic indicator is the price of houses, whether it be to build or to buy something that's existing, and the prices are starting to go up. So
I mean, the stock market right now is, you know, bouncing through
Well,
its ceiling.
One of the,
So-
one of the big indicators, and I'm actually not sure how this has actually occurred, but the dollar, the value of the dollar is rising. I don't know if that's as a result of everybody else is crashing and we just look like the least likely.
Probably because of Europe, the way
Yep.
Europe's looking.
Europe,
and
the yen,
the
you know,
yen,
they're still,
yep.
Japan's still suffering from, you know, from all the issues they had with the natural disaster there. But that's one of the things that's helping.
Yeah.
these kind of things get at the core of your question of how is MERS going to set their policy for funding levels? You can require 100%, you can require something less than that. How long are you willing to wait for assets to recover that will increase the funding percentage of our out there costs?
Should be interesting.
He just took over.
He's the new CEO of MERS. I don't,
Don't beat him up too bad.
Well, I don't think he's probably a babe in the woods. I'm sure he comes out of the
That's not his first
public
barbecue.
pension plant, public pension managing from some other state. I think, didn't he come from? I think I read that somewhere.
that's all I have.
That's it? Nothing more?
Oh, can't squeeze anything else in.
Thank you. All right, next time will be city commission, city committee reports, and board and commission reports. Do we have anything?
I attended the joint governor along with Darla. Very interesting meeting. I also went to the sports park master plan, and Commissioner Gay and I have talked about where we were going with that master plan and whether we're going to be able to get any bang for our buck that we've spent on that. And I think preliminary, it looks to me like we're going to have a working document. I had a separate conversation with our Parks and Recreation Director, and I know she's excited to make some of these things happen. I think she understands that she needs to have some early on success. And I think that early on success is what started out with K&M Industrial that we spent money on tonight. If we can make significant enough snow to be open by Christmas, we have a really good business plan for a really small hill. And from there you can go forward. And I think that they have a blueprint. And to give credit, I think they had a blueprint for Van Cleve Park there, and I think they've had a lot of successes with various projects down there that they did on a phase-by-phase basis. And so now they have a similar plan for the sports park that they can do on a phase-by-phase basis as external money becomes available. So I'm really encouraged by that.
Yeah, I was there as well, and same thing. I think the first phase is obviously is getting a good product on that ski hill. Obviously, people want to keep the ski hill and keep it open, and us as commissioners want it to be as solvent as possible. And we probably are going to have to, I hate saying this, but we're probably going to have to spend a little bit of money to get that product that we need to make that hill a little more solvent. So, but I was impressed. I was impressed, and I like the plans. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it develops from here.
I think they plan to bring that back to the full commission at a commission meeting, kind of
Yep.
present the one final map that they create with cost estimates. So probably, I'm hoping the first meeting in June.
Okay.
Depends on how long it takes them to get the cost estimates.
Which I believe I will be at, but I might be excused that night. Say yes.
Okay. Still in Alaska then?
I plan on being back here on the 9th, which is the day before our meeting.
Good. Anything else on the city commission, committee reports, board, commission reports? No? All right. Move on then to public comment. So you hear the crickets? No? All right, let's go to commissioner comments. Commissioner Gay.
The only thing I have, and I'm not harping, I'm just reminding, we talked previously about security for this door, these two doors. Again, I'm not harping, I'm just reminding. I know there's
No,
other
we
stuff
have
higher on the list, but
a quote coming for cameras.
for cameras or for physical security?
Cameras is one part of it. I haven't gotten with Midwest yet on the doors.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, good, thank you. Commissioner Olson?
Thursday before last Thursday, drove through Ironwood and they just had 2 feet of snow. And I got to thinking of Barry. And here he is doing Delta Avenue, and those poor boys up there were pushing snow. And it was a terrible snow to push. And when we came back through town about a week later, they'd had another foot on Monday and another foot on Tuesday or something like that. So they had a total of 4 feet. But then that kind of reminded me as I was thinking about that snow, what will that hovercraft do in a snowbank? Will it just blow itself a hole in the snowbank and sink to the bottom, or?
They'll probably be stuck.
Yeah, I just happened to be thinking about that.
Yeah.
Probably depend on the density of the snow.
Yeah, whether it would blow or it wouldn't blow.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, Michigan Rural Council, I'd read through that today, and a lot of good results in there, but then there's prioritization
Right.
and a lot of good suggestions. So, thank you.
Good, thank you. Commissioner Manning?
Just a comment, really. Delta Avenue is looking good, it's progressing nicely. I would think that it's going to be done in, short order here, and we won't have to worry about the 4th of July, I don't think.
Good.
Looks good.
Good.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Mackey?
I saw our street sweeper on North Lincoln Road today. We rented it out in an operator
Somebody asked me that.
to the county, yeah. Yeah, because the county had a truck behind them. I know they don't have a street sweeper, and they're responsible for the US 2 corridor in Escanaba. We touched on 2 things that I was going to bring up tonight on Delta Avenue. First was the elected officials, how do we design streets and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of consideration, which was a really good meeting. The other thing you have said, and maybe some of the other commissioners as well, is the idea of a special assessment doesn't sit well with you. And I've had a lot of people tell me in the public, where I go to the coffee shop and places like that there, that I would probably say there's a lot of people in the public who don't think special assessments fit well either. And we've heard on the other hand from Barry that our streets are deteriorating at a faster pace than we have the ability to keep up with. One of the things years ago that the auditors told me, and it's surfaced recently, but we haven't really discussed it, is in place of a special assessment, we could look at a road millage.
Yep, you could.
I hate the idea of more taxes because we're trying to be competitive, and we know right now that there's a lot of people that feel we're probably not competitive with our cost structure. So more millage wouldn't be good from that standpoint. But nonetheless, when we know we're losing ground, I think if staff has a plan for the condition of streets we are in right now and what it costs to repair some streets, that we could take a look and have some meetings and say, okay, if we levied 2 mills, if we levied 3 mills, it would generate X number of dollars. How much street work could we do with that in lieu of special assessments?
Well, I guess you could kind of look, I'm not going to throw this out there because it's not fair for them to try to come up with a dollar figure on the top of their head, but
No.
when we did the millage, help me, Darla, I all of a sudden had a brain block.
For solid waste?
Thank you, solid waste. Roughly, what was the amount generated?
1.8 mils was
160 or 196,000.
Yeah.
Mill brings in
So-
just over 100,000.
So,
Well, see,
that's
only
something we just did away
one
with.
mill would, $100,000, I think, could do an awful lot of street work in a year.
It wouldn't be able to do that whole project there without any grant.
No, no,
funding,
no, but
though.
that's an unusual project. I'm talking about your typical residential street that's a local street. Right?
And as your tax base goes up, you keep the mill the same, but then it'll increase the amount of money that's still coming in.
You know, again, I'm not in favor of more taxes, but it is an alternative method to coming up with the monies needed to keep us from going further and further behind on the condition of our public streets. Because as I pointed out, 40 years ago, most of all the streets in Gladstone that we see today were all done by a special assessment, and they're 40 years old and they're in need of replacement.
Commissioner Olson?
Now, I understand where you fellas are coming from with special assessment, but then, you know, usually I'm the contrarian in the group, and I like a special assessment, and the reason that I like the special assessment is that it helps control where the streets are. Because if you didn't have a special assessment, you would want a new street. I want the best street in town. But if you have to pay for it, okay, now you're looking at, well, it's good enough. I don't want to pay extra. So it does provide a little bit of control as to where the streets go.
So you're suggesting that where people are willing to pay a special assessment, those would be the streets that get more attention?
Why
I didn't
not?
think of it in that way, but.
Yeah.
Also, if something ever does come out of the legislature, which the representatives are telling us there's going to be some kind of a transportation package, it would allow you to have some matching monies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing. We don't have the ability, beyond our routine maintenance right now, to have matching monies to take advantage of federal monies the way maybe we'd like to, you know. That would help us tremendously with some of these larger projects too. We have a little bit extra to match. Get that 80% and 90% federal dollars coming back that we're all paying in anyway. But sometimes we can't get our fair share because we don't have the money to match it.
You could almost go with if you're looking at just matching funds you could almost go with a $500,000 if you really were looking at it. And then in the future, if that funding source was starting to dry up as far as the grant funding, or it was starting to become more matching funds that needed to be acquired, the percentage, then you can maybe look at increasing another quarter or up to a full mill.
Usually go like 10 years. You know, the Sheriff's Department road patrol is supported by a road millage, and every 10 years people have to vote whether they're going to continue it. It's the same thing there are some townships in this county that have road millage. Most of them don't, but some do. And every several years or so they've got to go back to the people, and basically it passes or it fails, and almost always passes, based on what people can see being put into the roads. And I know this is really premature. This is just something to throw out there for you guys so that maybe in the future we don't have to look at special assessments because they don't appear to be really popular. They used to be the method of doing things, and maybe we need to find a different way.
Yeah. Is that it?
On Friday we meet with the POLC. There's one item we still got to take care of.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Just have a couple of things, just questions. The harbor project, is that looking to be kind of on schedule?
Yep. We got some pictures last week. Our docks are almost completely built,
Good.
at their location. Should be delivered to Gladstone sometime next week.
Good. And I know I asked this before about the dredging. Did you say that there was another go-around potentially for grant funding for dredging through there?
Well, from the mouth out to the fishing pier.
Correct.
We've submitted everything we've we needed to the waterways. We haven't heard anything back.
Okay.
Nicole did tell me she was concerned about the water levels in the
Well,
harbor.
I had a couple of people who are boating through there. I think it was more for the sailboats, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That
Because
there
they
was
got
some
that keel
concern.
hanging down
Yeah.
there.
There's some concern there because they're asking about some people are asking about the harbor, not seeing the docks in yet. So, well, we're going through and adding some new docks, and they thought that was a great idea, but they were saying the concern is that the water level and there's some dredging that may need to be done. So I just want to double check on that. Another thing, Barry may be able to answer this. Hugo, you may be able to have a little bit of insight on this as well. The last major accident we had at the South Hill Road in the 4-lane, I think I've seen this in the Wisconsin and maybe in Illinois, but in Michigan, I don't think I've ever seen it. As far as a signal indicating when the light is going to change,
Yep.
because it's still 55 through there.
They
And
have them
that's-
in Lower Michigan. I've seen
They
them.
have in Lower
Yeah,
Michigan.
I've
I have
seen them
not seen them
before.
down there.
Yep, it's prepare to stop. It flashes if you've got a long straightaway where you can see that green light for a long time.
That's your
Is it
dilemma
a
zone again.
countdown showing you when it's going to turn
It's
yellow to red?
no, it
Or just
basically
a-
starts flashing red. Prepare to stop is what it's telling
Oh,
you.
okay.
And
I've
it's-
seen that.
And it's timed based on 55. It's
Okay.
not timed based on 64 miles an hour. So
I've seen that, and I was told there may be some out there that actually has a countdown. Where if you hit this spot,
I think that would make it worse because then they try to beat the timer.
well, and that's what I thought too. I'm thinking, you know what? It's probably it.
Yeah, the only ones I've seen are the
Flashing?
prepare to stops.
One of the things they told us at this workshop, if you have a residential street, not a straight trunk line, but if you have a residential street, if you think you can control traffic by putting stop signs in, people just speed between them.
I know. You know, I
And
know.
so it's kind of like that
Yeah.
same idea. Can I beat it? Can I beat it?
Yeah.
yeah, and
How
I
do you
tried
think
to
it would take to get a change at that light? I mean,
as far as
Director Geyer calls MDOT routinely with, suggestions, but again, it's their light, they control it.
I know.
I think they have their plan, and if they stick to their plan, and that may not be part of their plan. I don't know. It's the
Well,
best way I
it's
can
not only
describe
that
it.
light, but you also have the light by New Page by the 426, where you're coming up that hill. That's another bad
Horrible
one. And that's still
intersection.
55 through there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was some people complain, but you aren't going to be able to stop so much. People, if they're going to break the law and want to speed, they're going to do it no matter how many different signals you put up there. I've seen it. So,
And the biggest challenge is when a light is timed for 55 miles an hour.
yeah.
People that don't understand the relationship, when it's time
Math?
for 50, well, when it's time for 55 and you're doing 63, it can create a problem.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a question that was brought up to me as far as wondering why, or if we've looked at getting with MDOT, trying to not control the signal, but to advertise it, so to speak, a little bit better. But you and I both know sometimes it's difficult to work with MDOT. Scrap wood on city property. When we did our cutting, we still have a lot of the. What's it? I know that you and I have discussed this. What's the chances of? Because I've had a couple of people approach me and ask if they could cut some of the stuff, the shrubbery that's down on the ground, the leftover. If they could come in and just clean it up themselves and use it for their own firewood, kindling, that type of. If that's a thought that we could do, if it's not to do, if we actually issue a $5 permit to allow them to do it.
I would think you'd want to know who's going to do it. Just even if you don't charge them anything, just say this person has permission by virtue of something you've issued
Correct.
to them.
And a liability waiver.
Well, June 3rd, Zeller's contract is up, and they haven't cut the Perkins property yet. So Dean Francis, on behalf of Zeller, emailed me in January, earlier this year, and requesting a 1-year extension.
Absolutely not. If I have anything to say about it.
So,
That's just
so
me.
we communicated, I think it was in March, and he was on the east end of the UP the whole month on a project, unavailable to come to the commission meeting. I think Dean should at least come to the commission and explain, because we kind of communicated through email. He said they want a 1-year extension due to the winter, unable to get up there and cut it. That's the ideal time to go up there and cut that section. I replied and said, well, would you consider a summer cut? I mean, if you're worried about mud and snow, whatever in the winter, if it's a dry summer, why couldn't you consider a summer cut? And he didn't, I don't think he replied, but, so they do need to come before the commission to request the 1-year extension. It's gotta be the next commission meeting. So maybe there we'll say, okay, we'll give you 1-year extension on the Perkins property if you relieve your right to all the other property you've cleared. And then we can come up with how do we want to handle that internally.
So we can't really do anything until that is, because we're still in that contract.
Right.
As far as cleaning up.
There.
Clean up, yeah.
Wasn't that cleanup part of the contract?
Yes.
See, I think it's time to rebid that project. I think if you think about why they would want an extension, it's basically because it's not a high priority for them and they're just buying time. And we should explore whether there's other contractors who can get it done right now. My feeling. They're out there cutting wood every day. They just aren't cutting on our property.
Right.
Yeah, no, I would, I mean, obviously, that's, we'll be careful what we're talking about, but yeah, I could see where the next commission meeting, that may be a good thing for Mr. Zeller to come to, Mr. Francis, to come to our commission meeting and explore some of those possibilities, because I'll be the first to admit that I haven't been satisfied. So, okay, that's all I have. Oh, I do have one more thing. Just a letter I got today, or at least a letter I opened today, but it's from Miss Julie Bricker. Miss Bricker is the mother to, well, we call him Nate. His real name's Nathan, Nathan Belleville, Nate Belleville. He's graduating this year. He's a senior at the Gladstone High School. Nate actually was he's going to be an Eagle Scout recipient. And he built, as part of his project, he built our handicap accessible grill, barbecue grill down at the big pavilion. So
That's a good idea.
he built it already. It was part of his as part of him obtaining his Eagle Scout award. There's going to be a ceremony for him on June 30th at the Memorial United Methodist Church here in Gladstone. So if anybody would like to attend, please do so. He did a nice job. He's a good, kind-hearted kid. He really puts all of his effort into his day-to-day activities, and especially his spirit with the Gladstone High School and being a big fan. So good kid. So I wanted to at least bring that to your attention.
The Gladstone Lions Club sponsors Troop 466, so we're very proud of them.
Good. It's good. He did well. Did well. All right, that's all I have. Bypass that. Can we go to no, we can't go to adjournment, can we? I'm just sorry. All right, we're back under new business. Will be the executive session proposal for our MTT, the Michigan Tax Tribunal, with Bessie Forest Products.
So I'd move that we convene to executive session.
Second.
Well,
I heard Manton first.
Okay, I have a motion supported by Commissioner Manton. Thanks. I couldn't even tell. Roll
It
call,
was just
please.
just a split second ahead.
Yes.
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 Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Mayor Hunter.
Yes. All right, we're in executive session.